So what does it mean to be compatible? What does that word even mean?
Yeah, well, compatibility is all about the way that we fit, right? And sometimes we are not compatible at all, and we can recognize that right away. Sometimes one of us is compatible with the other person, and while the other person is not compatible at all. I call that one-way compatibility.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, hold on a second. One-way compatibility.
Yeah. So one-way compatibility, what I show my clients to illustrate this really easily, and I brought a graphic for you to see this today. It's kind of like the circle and the square. Right?
Okay.
Imagine that you're the square and I'm the circle.
Okay.
I fit into you. And
Yep.
so you're able to touch all of my points. You complete me. It feels good. You are able to do all that I need to fulfill me.
Because the circle fits inside the square.
Right. But the square has edges that are never touched. And so they have unmet needs. And so they sit in a relationship and they go, you know what? For some reason, this just doesn't feel fully satisfying to me. While the other person is going, what is wrong? I'm so happy. I give you everything. Doesn't this feel wonderful to you?
Right. And then we try to shrink the square to jam it in the circle, right?
Absolutely.
That's where we get in trouble. How do you know if you are truly compatible with your partner?
Well, you know, it is really about how well we fit. And that doesn't mean that we are the same, but it means that our rhythm flows in a way that fulfills my needs and your needs are being fulfilled as well. It's a very reciprocal thing. And some couples have to work very hard at being compatible and finding that fit. And for other people, it flows more naturally.
Why do people constantly go after people that they're not compatible with?
Oh, my goodness, because it fills a need for us. See, there are different types of things, and I tell people all the time, in your adult relationships, you're doing one of two things. Either I'm healing that dysfunctional trauma that I brought into this relationship. You're healing me, you're growing me, you're stretching me, you're causing me to confront those things so that I create new, healthier patterns. Or you are a wound mate for me and you allow me to be triggered over and over so that we continue in our dysfunctional patterns that we're comfortable with.
Oh my God, did you just say wound mate?
Yes, a wound mate.
Is that what you're doing if you keep picking the wrong person?
Over and over.
So we hear it all the time on this show. I bet you hear this like a broken record too. Why do I keep picking the wrong person? It's because you're a wound mate?
That's right. And it's where did you learn that? Who is that person representing for you in your life? It could be a parent. It could be a grandparent. It could be an old flame. It is that recreation of the same trauma so that I can show up differently.
And is it that it feels familiar, and that's why you keep doing it, even though you don't want to?
Absolutely, because see, at least I know this demon, right? I know how to confront it, I know how to deal with it, but the anxiety of doing something different, the fear of the unknown, even though I may want to get there, the fear of what it's going to take and whether I actually can show up in it in the way I need to, oftentimes we're not willing to break through that cycle.
Do opposites attract? How does that whole saying fit into wound mate?
Yeah. Well, it's not always about what's opposite. It's about what it is that I need. And one of the things that I love to tell people is what we do, unfortunately, is we walk out and we wear masks all day, every day. And so I like to put it in terms of color, right?
Okay.
So say on the inside, who I am at my core is really a soft, sensitive, vulnerable person who's highly intimate, who needs that cuddling, who needs that affection.
I'm seeing lilac.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's
let's
the
go with
color I'm
lilac.
seeing.
Here we go.
Yes.
But I'm afraid to be taken advantage of.
Okay.
I've been taught either through conditioning or through my own experiences that the world is a scary place, that people will take advantage of you if you let them, and so you can't show the world that. So every day I put on a mask. What color do we gonna?
Red.
Okay, so every day I put on this red
yes.
mask, right? And this version of me is strong, it's hard, it's independent, it doesn't need anybody, it's standoffish because I'm protecting myself. So if I walk out every day wearing a red mask, who am I going to attract?
Oh,
people
red.
that are attracted to red. So I'm going to be in relationship with people who are attracted to red, but meanwhile, my needs are going to be unmet because I'm really lilac. And so I'm going to sit in this relationship unhappy and miserable and unfulfilled because the individuals that I should be with who would be attracted to lilac will pass me by every day.
Holy cow. I mean, I have to pick my jaw off the floor because I've never heard anyone describe it like that.
Yeah. And so the hard part is, if you really want to find the person that you're compatible with, you have to be brave enough to show up. So not only can you attract them, but you can choose them, because we're constantly choosing the people that we bring into our life. Everything is a series of choices. But if what you see out there does not resonate, you're going to choose from the candidates that are in front of you.
So when it comes to somebody that's a fit, compatibility, you say that there are signs to look for. What are they?
Okay, so they are big ones. And what it's really about is intimacy. And I tell couples, it's a really easy acronym. Some relationships rise, some relationships fall. You want one that rises.
Now, can I ask a question? When you say the word intimacy, what do you mean?
Intimacy means into me see. Into my deepest, most vulnerable parts. How well do you know me? How well am I showing up in those spaces? And when I show you who I am at my core, do we really line up?
So you said relationships rise or they fall, and there are 5 kinds of intimacy. So what are they?
Okay, so this is an acronym. This is how you remember this. So the R stands for recreational intimacy, doing things together. So if I'm a type A person, I love skydiving, I love hiking, I'm kayaking. Do you love those things too? Do we line up? It's important, because if you're a person who says, well, I hate all that, I'd rather spend my nights watching TV cuddled up. Well, then we don't necessarily have a high level of recreational compatibility. So that's important. The I is intellectual intimacy. Do we feed each other? Can we have conversations if I love that intense stimulation? Can we go from politics to sports to world events to geography? And can you meet me there, and do you enjoy it? Or do we say, why are you so intense all the time? Why do we have to talk? Can we just kind of sit and be? Those things are important. The S is spiritual intimacy. And this is different than religion. We don't have to have the same religion. But do we see our concept of the world, of creator, of how we exist as global citizens? Do we see ourselves the same? So spiritually, are we connected? Do we grow and nurture each other and feed each other in that space? Or do we make each other feel small or shrink or question our own spiritual growth? So that's important. The E is emotional intimacy. Are we warm and fuzzy? Do I really feel like you get me? Do I feel safe and vulnerable? Or am I more like kind of a cactus? Listen, I don't need all that touchy-feely emotional stuff. Be tough, be strong. And then that last S, it's last, but it's definitely not least, sexual intimacy. Do we like the same things? Do we light each other's fire? Are we into the same kinds of exploration, or are we both conservative? Are we talking about it in terms of how much sex we want? How often? Do we show up and feed each other in that passion place? Some relationships rise, some fall. You want one that rises.
And the secret to a relationship that rises lies in those 5 forms of intimacy. Do you have to have all of them?
No. But it's important that you have the ones that fit. It has to be about you. How well do we line up? If I don't need those things and you don't need those things, then we're great. But if I need them and you can't meet that need, now we have an issue. And do we figure out how to do that with each other, or do we now have to go out and bring other folks into our relationship, sometimes in platonic ways, sometimes in consensually non-monogamous ways? How do we get those needs met?
Got it. Well, I know that everybody's now wondering, holy cow, how do I know if I am compatible? Well, we have created a quiz to tell you whether or not you're compatible with your partner. Let me give you the questions real quick, because you can take it right here at home. Do you miss your partner when you're apart for a long time? Why is this important?
Because that's emotional intimacy. I'm connected to you. We're in alignment. We're in sync. And so when I don't have your presence near me, then everything about how my world operates is out of sync.
Ooh, that's a good one. Do you trust your partner? Now, I almost just asked you, there's a big difference between missing your partner and then wondering what they're doing when you're not around.
Right, huge difference. And it's not only do I trust you in how you're behaving out of my presence, but do I trust you with me? Do I trust you with who I am? Do I trust you with my secrets? Have I told you everything that there is to know about me? And if not, then why not?
So why do we stay with somebody that we don't trust?
Because again, it allows us to perpetuate those dysfunctional cycles. If I stay with you and I don't trust you, what then do I continue to do? I'm allowed to hide. I'm allowed to feel unsafe. I'm allowed to stay disconnected. It allows us not to go through the process of having to show up in our own lives.
Wow. And question number 3, do you have compatible lifestyles? What does that mean? Can you give me an example?
Yeah. So if I'm a person who says, I love to get up early in the morning, I like to get my day done, I'm very ambitious, I'm very driven and goal-oriented, you probably don't necessarily want somebody who matches you in that place, because
Kill each
then
other. Yes,
exactly. But by the same token, you don't want someone who's the complete opposite of that either, because then they'll just simply drag you down, or you'll find yourself disliking them and trying to change who they are.
Question 4, can you talk to your partner about anything?
Yeah. If you don't have that openness, if you don't have that transparency, then that says that either they don't create a space for you to feel okay, or you don't create that space for them. So there are places and spaces in our relationship that we can't go, and usually that's where the toxins are that will kill your relationship.
And question 5, do you laugh together?
Oh, yes, because laughter is the thing that heals you. And if we can't laugh, if we have to take everything seriously in our relationship, then we are not compatible.